Long before the world fell silent, before the ancient valleys turned to ash, there was a kingdom hidden beneath a mountain of fire, a land where giants ruled the earth, where ancient creatures guarded secrets older than the moon itself. But when Fire Mountain awakened, everything began to die. Rivers burned, forests vanished beneath ash, and the last hope of an ancient species was forced into the hands of one young survivor. His name was Kael. Hunted by monsters, chased through a collapsing world, he carried the final egg of a forgotten kingdom, because inside that egg slept a power that could either destroy the world or save it. This is the story of the last egg of the Fire Mountain. The sky above Fire Mountain glowed red every night. Far below the smoking volcano, hidden between giant cliffs and rivers of black stone, lay a secret valley untouched for thousands of years. Ancient trees covered the land. Glowing insects floated through the mist, and herds of dinosaurs moved peacefully beneath the moonlight. Among them lived a young feathered dinosaur named Kael. Kael was smaller than the other hunters of his kind. His dark emerald feathers shimmered blue under the moon, and a pale scar crossed one of his amber eyes. While others hunted in packs, Kael preferred exploring the hidden caves beneath the valley alone. The elders often warned him, "Never climb toward the Fire Mountain," growled the old horned guardian Torvak. "The mountain sleeps, but not forever." But Kael never stopped wondering what waited above the burning cliffs. One night, strange tremors shook the valley. The ground rumbled. Bird-like reptiles screamed into the sky. Trees dropped clouds of ash from their branches. Kael looked toward the volcano and froze. A glowing red crack had appeared near the summit. For the first time in many seasons, Fire Mountain was waking up. The herd began to panic, but something else caught Kael's attention. Far across the valley, near the forbidden cliffs, a strange blue light flickered deep inside a cave hidden behind falling lava rocks. Curious, Kael slipped away from the frightened herd and quietly climbed through the dark jungle alone. The tremors grew stronger. Rocks crashed down around him. Then suddenly, a deafening roar echoed through the valley. Not from the volcano. Something alive. Something enormous. Kael slowly stepped into the glowing cave, and there, resting on a nest of black volcanic stone, was a single massive egg glowing with faint golden light. The egg moved. Crack! Kael's eyes widened. Behind him, deep in the darkness of the cave, two gigantic burning eyes slowly opened. The burning eyes stared directly at Kael. A deep growl echoed through the cave walls, shaking loose dust and ash from above. Kael slowly stepped back toward the glowing egg, his claws trembling against the black volcanic stone. Then the creature emerged from the darkness. It was enormous. Its body was covered in obsidian-colored scales scarred by old battles. Long crimson feathers ran down its neck like burning fire, and one of its horns was broken in half. The beast lowered its massive head toward the egg. Kael expected death, but the giant predator did not attack. Instead, it let out a low rumbling sound, almost protective. Suddenly, another earthquake struck the mountain. Crack! The cave ceiling split open. Streams of lava began pouring through the rocks above. The giant beast immediately shielded the egg with its body as burning debris crashed around them. Kael stared in shock. This monster was protecting the egg. Outside, terrified screams echoed across the valley. Dinosaurs were fleeing in every direction as rivers of lava consumed the forest below Fire Mountain. The beast looked toward the collapsing cave entrance, then back at Kael. Its glowing eyes narrowed, as if giving a warning. Then, a distant roar thundered across the valley. Louder, deeper, far more terrifying. The giant guardian suddenly became tense. Kael could feel it too. Something else was coming. Something powerful enough to frighten even this creature. Heavy footsteps shook the mountain. Boom, boom, boom. A second pair of glowing eyes appeared outside the cave entrance. But these eyes were cold blue, not red. The guardian released a deafening roar and pushed the glowing egg toward Kael with its massive claw. Kael froze. The meaning was clear. Run. The cave exploded as a gigantic shadow smashed through the entrance. Sharp claws tore through stone while lava burst across the cavern floor. Kael grabbed the glowing egg and sprinted into the collapsing darkness as two ancient titans collided behind him. Kael ran for his life. The glowing egg pressed against his chest as the cave collapsed behind him. Hot ash filled the air, making it hard to breathe. Every roar from the battling titans shook the mountain beneath his claws. Then suddenly, the ground disappeared. Kael fell down a steep volcanic slope, crashing through dead branches and black stone before slamming into muddy ash near the valley river. The egg rolled from his arms. Crack! Kael's heart stopped. A thin golden line now stretched across the shell. The egg was breaking. Slowly, carefully, Kael pulled it close again. From inside, he heard a faint sound. Tap, tap. Something alive was still inside. A thunderous explosion erupted above the valley. Fire Mountain finally began to erupt. Massive rivers of lava poured down the cliffs as smoke swallowed the stars. Dinosaurs screamed while forests burned across the horizon. Kael looked back toward the mountain. The giant guardian never came out. Silence answered him. For the first time, Kael realized the truth. The guardian had stayed behind to let him escape. A shadow suddenly moved across the ash. Kael froze. Several lean predators with pale gray scales slowly emerged from the smoke. Their sharp teeth gleamed under the firelight, and their glowing blue eyes locked onto the egg immediately. The same blue eyes from the cave. They had followed him. The leader stepped forward with a low growl. Kael backed away carefully, protecting the egg beneath his claws. But more predators appeared behind him, trapped. The hunters circled closer through the ash storm. Then, a deafening horn blast echoed across the valley. Boom! The predators stopped instantly. From the burning smoke emerged a massive armored dinosaur covered in dark stone-like plates. One of its horns was broken, and fresh lava scars burned across its body. Torvak, the old guardian, slammed into the predators with terrifying force, scattering them across the ash-covered ground. Run, his roar seemed to say. Kael hesitated only a second before grabbing the egg and racing into the burning wilderness beside the old warrior. Behind them, the dying valley vanished beneath rivers of fire. The world beyond Fire Mountain was dying. For 3 days, Kael and Torvak traveled through endless ash-covered wilderness. The sky remained dark, blocked by thick volcanic smoke. No stars, no moon. Only distant thunder and the red glow of fire behind them. The egg grew warmer each night, and the crack across its shell spread wider. Kael could now hear tiny growls from inside. The creature was close to hatching, but danger followed them everywhere. The blue-eyed predators hunted silently through the smoke, always watching from the darkness beyond the trees. Torvak noticed them first. "We are being followed," his heavy eyes warned. By the 4th night, they reached a cursed place known among the old herds as the River of Bones. Thousands of ancient skeletons covered the riverbank. Giant rib cages rose from the ash like dead forests, and broken skulls rested beneath black water that barely moved. Even the wind felt silent there. Kael shivered. Something was wrong. Torvak lowered his massive head carefully toward the ground. Then he froze. Fresh tracks. Huge ones. Not predator tracks. Titan tracks. Suddenly, splash! A monstrous creature exploded from the dark river. Rows of jagged teeth snapped toward Kael as black water erupted into the air. Kael barely leaped aside while the glowing egg slipped from his claws across the wet stone. The creature lunged straight toward the egg. A giant river hunter, ancient, blind in one eye, covered in scars. Torvak roared and slammed into the beast with crushing force. The riverbank shattered beneath them as the two titans battled violently among the skeletons. Kael scrambled toward the egg, but stopped. The shell was breaking open. Golden light burst through the cracks. A tiny claw slowly pushed out from inside. Then, the blue-eyed predators emerged from the smoke once again, surrounding him, waiting, and behind them, something far larger moved within the ash storm. The glowing egg cracked open completely. A burst of golden light illuminated the River of Bones as the tiny creature finally emerged. Kael stared in disbelief. The hatchling was unlike any dinosaur he had ever seen. Its scales shimmered like molten gold beneath the ash-covered sky. Thin crimson patterns glowed softly across its body like flowing lava, and small feather-like spines ran along its neck. But its eyes, bright silver, ancient. The hatchling looked directly at Kael and let out a weak chirping sound before curling against his chest. The predators growled instantly. They feared it. From the ash storm behind them, The gigantic shadow finally stepped forward. The ground trembled beneath each step. Boom, boom, boom. Kael slowly looked up and froze. The Titan was enormous beyond imagination. Dark volcanic armor covered its body. Glowing cracks spread across its scales like burning magma, and two massive blue eyes burned through the smoke. Torvak stopped fighting the river beast. Even the ancient river Titan backed away. All creatures feared this monster. Torvak lowered his head slightly. Not an attack, in recognition. The giant predator was old, far older than Fire Mountain itself. The hatchling suddenly began glowing brighter in Kael's arms. The Titan noticed immediately. Then it roared. A roar so powerful the river exploded beneath the sound wave. The blue-eyed predators charged forward at once. Chaos erupted. Torvak slammed into the pack while Kael sprinted across the skeleton-covered riverbank, carrying the hatchling. Behind him, the volcanic Titan crushed predators beneath its claws without hesitation. But it was not hunting Kael. It was hunting the hatchling. The newborn creature cried out weakly as glowing heat spread across its body. Then suddenly, the hatchling released a blinding pulse of golden light. Everything stopped. The ash storm froze midair. The river became still. And for a single terrifying moment, the giant volcanic Titan looked afraid. The golden light faded. Ash began falling once more. The river of bones came alive again with distant screams, crashing water, and the sound of burning forests far away. But the volcanic Titan did not move. Its enormous blue eyes remained fixed on the hatchling, trembling in Kael's arms. For the first time, the monster looked uncertain. The hatchling opened its silver eyes slowly. Then it chirped. A soft, harmless sound. Yet the Titan stepped backward. Torvak noticed immediately. It remembers, his ancient eyes seemed to realize. Suddenly, the hatchling's glowing pattern spread brighter across its tiny body. Strange symbols of molten gold pulsed beneath its scales like flowing fire. The ground began shaking again. But this time, not from the volcano, from beneath the river itself. Ah! The river of bones split apart. Ancient skeletons collapsed into the darkness as molten light erupted from deep underground. A gigantic stone doorway slowly rose beneath the broken riverbed, covered in glowing symbols identical to those on the hatchling's body. Kael stared in shock. The hatchling belonged to this place. The volcanic Titan released a deep growl and slowly approached the ancient doorway. The blue-eyed predators immediately panicked. Some fled into the smoke. Others dropped to the ground in fear. Even the blind river Titan disappeared beneath the black water. Only Torvak remained still. The doorway finally opened. A wave of scorching air burst outward. Inside was an enormous hidden chamber glowing with rivers of lava and thousands of giant fossilized eggs embedded within the walls. An ancient nest. A lost kingdom beneath Fire Mountain? Kael slowly stepped closer while holding the hatchling. Then he saw them. Massive claw marks covering the stone walls. Signs of battle. Signs of slaughter. The hatchling suddenly cried out loudly. And deep within the ancient chamber, something answered. The glowing eyes moved closer. Heavy footsteps echoed through the ancient chamber, shaking dust from the ceiling above. Rivers of lava rippled across the stone floor as the unseen creature slowly emerged from the darkness. Kael held the hatchling tightly. Even Torvak stepped backward. Then the creature revealed itself. It was another volcanic Titan, but older. Far older. Its body was massive beyond imagination, covered in cracked obsidian armor glowing with molten fire beneath the surface. One side of its face was scarred and blind, and ancient chains of black stone still hung broken around its neck. The hatchling chirped softly. The Titan froze. Its glowing red eye locked onto the tiny creature. Not with hatred, with sorrow. Kael realized the truth immediately. This Titan was not a monster. It was the last guardian of the ancient kingdom beneath Fire Mountain. Suddenly, the volcanic Titan from the river entered the chamber behind them with a deafening roar. The blue-eyed predators followed close behind, flooding into the ancient nest. The chamber erupted into chaos. The ancient guardian roared so loudly the lava trembled. Massive fossilized eggs shattered from the walls as the two Titans collided like living mountains. Torvak charged into the predators once again, protecting Kael and the hatchling from the swarm. "Go!" his roar thundered. Kael sprinted deeper into the chamber, carrying the hatchling while fire and destruction exploded behind him. Then he discovered the truth. At the center of the ancient kingdom stood a gigantic stone nest surrounded by bones and shattered eggs. Thousands of them. This was where the species had died. Not from disaster, from war. The hatchling suddenly glowed brighter than ever before. Golden light spread across the chamber walls, revealing ancient drawings hidden beneath the ash. Drawings of the hatchling species, guardians of balance, protectors of life itself. And beneath the final drawing, a warning. When the last child awakens, the world will burn or be reborn. The ancient chamber was collapsing. Massive cracks spread across the ceiling while rivers of lava burst through the stone walls. The battle between the two titans shook the hidden kingdom apart. Kael held the hatchling close as he ran through falling debris and burning ash. Behind him, Torvak roared in pain. Kael turned. The old warrior stood wounded beside the shattered stone nest, surrounded by blue-eyed predators. Blood and molten ash covered his armored body, but he still fought to protect the path ahead. Then the volcanic titan struck. With one devastating blow, Torvak was thrown across the chamber. The ancient guardian titan roared furiously and slammed into its rival, driving both giants into collapsing pillars of stone. The chamber began to fall apart completely. Kael reached the center of the ancient nest. There, beneath layers of ash and broken bones, stood a glowing platform covered in the same golden symbols as the hatchling. The newborn creature suddenly leaped from Kael's arms onto the platform. Its body erupted with light. Golden energy spread across the kingdom like sunrise piercing darkness. The glowing symbols awakened along every wall, every fossilized egg, every river of lava. The entire mountain trembled. Outside, Fire Mountain exploded. But instead of destruction, the lava stopped flowing. Ash clouds slowly parted above the valley for the first time in many days. Moonlight touched the earth again. Inside the chamber, the volcanic titan froze as golden light covered its massive body. The hatred in its glowing blue eyes faded slowly into silence. Then the ancient guardian stepped forward. For one long moment, the two titans stared at each other beneath the falling ash, not as enemies, as the last survivors of a forgotten age. The guardian lowered its massive head beside the glowing hatchling, and the volcanic titan did the same. Peace, at last. Kael looked toward the opening sky above Fire Mountain. The valley below was scarred and burned, but alive. Small green plants already pushed through the ash. A new beginning. The hatchling looked toward the rising moon and released a soft cry into the night. And for the first time since the fire began, the world answered with silence instead of fear. And so, beneath the quiet moonlight, the fire finally faded. The ancient giants lowered their heads in peace. The valley breathed once more, and from the ashes of destruction, new life began to rise. Kael was no longer just a survivor. He had become the guardian of the last child of fire. But somewhere beyond the silent mountains, the world was still changing. And the story of the last egg had only just begun. The end. If you enjoyed this prehistoric adventure, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more epic dinosaur stories and cinematic journeys. See you in the next adventure beneath the ancient skies.